Hi and welcome to the channel. Now this isn't going to really be a long video, I'm just going to let you know how it sounds. This cassette deck is the NAD 622O cassette deck. My brother's going to tell you why he brought it in and also going to relay a little bit of a story to it as well in a shop there about a year or so ago, maybe a couple of years ago now, when I had them Ditton 120 speakers. I think they were they Ditton 120s. I bought them from that shop and lo and behold the geezer had this cassette deck in there. And I said I'd do a bit of repair, and he said, "Do you fancy repairing this?" And at the time I declined him because of walking out with these speakers, and I kind of never went back. And I'm glad I did kind of decline at the time, because looking at it, the belts replacing the ear isn't an easy job. And I've had one or two maybe successes of replacing belts that are easy enough to get to, but any of these belts are hard to get to. I've tried and kind of mucked it up, so I don't know what I've done. Maybe I'm just no good at that, you know what I mean? Replacing belts is not my forte, so if you're not as good at it, you're going to struggle with this. And the reason I'm saying is the bloke in that shop, obviously he had one, and the story behind that was he sold it a little while ago, like this is like say 2 years ago. He sold it a week or so before I went in there. So the geezer bought it and he sold it for £40. So I said, oh, it's a pretty good deal on that, £40 for that cassette deck. I said, I remember having one years and years ago, and I said, what I can remember, it sounded okay, sounded pretty good. And he said, yeah, he bought it and he bought it back a week later saying it don't work, and he goes, the belts are gone. He said, so it didn't last long. So that is it, the belts on these cassette decks, all these old cassette decks now, the belts are going to go, you know what I mean, and this is the kind of time they're going, or maybe before, so be careful. So my brother's brought this in to me. The forward fast didn't work, the play was okay, and the rewind was okay. Now I think this takes 3 or 4 belts, including the counter belt as well, but the counter works fine as well. That's another thing, it does work fine. So that wasn't working, the forward fast, and he said it's a very low muffled sound, and the very low muffled sound was literally cleaning the heads and also realigning the heads as well. They were slightly out the heads, not by a vast amount I don't think, but they were slightly out. Just doing that has sprung it back to life. We've got some nice crisp fires, all that kind of stuff, and it sounds okay now. Well, it sounds pretty good as it happens for what it is. I think it sounds pretty good, but come to that in a minute. Just going to give a brief description. So yeah, no, I did ring him up and say to him, I don't really want to tackle the forward fast business, it's working. And he said he's got a few cassettes that he wants to copy over, make a copy of. And I said, well, this is going to work. It's going to play them cassettes. You can make a copy of them, and then in a little while's time, it's going to conk out. You may get another year out of it. You may have to rewind stuff. You may have to play it and rewind it rather than forward fast, and you can't do none of that kind of thing. So just get on with it like that. So he was happy enough with that, so no further action required kind of thing. Like I say, he's going to pick this up pretty shortly along with the amplifier. So just be careful, you're buying a cassette deck, maybe go for a direct drive one. They still have a few problems as well, but maybe go for a direct drive one, or have a look online, have a look inside them, have a look at them, what are you interested in, have a look inside, see how easy it is, see if there's any videos, how easy it is to replace them belts. If there's any videos on YouTube, they're going to show you how to replace them belts. And have a look at how people replace them. Can you do that yourself? Can you think you can do that yourself? Or maybe just go on eBay. There is a few people now that are reconditioning these, and some people say new belts fitted, no pictures, and I'm always a bit wary of that, because I could turn and say, this was working okay, new belts fitted, and a year down the line it conks out. Well, that's it, you've got no comebacks. So be a bit wary of that. I'd look for people on eBay, and there is people out there on eBay that show you all the pictures, they show you all the part, they show you the pictures of them replacing the belts, etc. That's the one I'd go for. And to be honest with you, I want to look, they're I'm guessing a little bit, but they're about another £80 more than cassette decks, something like that, £60, £80 more than you would buy one that hasn't got the belts replaced. Some people do it cheaper, you know what I mean, depends obviously what they've bought the cassette deck in for themselves first of all. And I would say that is probably the best route. That's going to give you a safeguard of the belts not going again. You're going to get some good life out of the belts. There's other stuff in there as well. Some little cogs are made out of plastic sometimes, and the teeth break, or the cog slips because it hasn't got the grip around the spindle, that kind of stuff. And again, there will be people on eBay that replace some cogs as well as the pinch roll as well. That can kind of become very shiny kind of thing and lose grip on the tape. And again, people on eBay do replace that. So you can get a decent cassette deck on there with quite a few parts replaced that should last you a good few years. So, and it's worth paying a little bit extra now, because if you bought a second-hand one and it kind of like conked out in a month or two time, you're going to go and pay someone 80, £100 to get it going, to get it going again, kind of thing. And some of these belt kits are not cheap. Some of these belt kits are £15, £20 just for the belts. Though other people, some people do use different replacement belts, but if you're getting the correct belts, they can cost a bit as well. And that's before you actually pay someone £80, £100 an hour, or minimum of £80, £100 to do it for you, kind of thing. So just bear that in mind if you're interested in buying a cassette deck. Maybe get one that's already been done for you now, and that's going to last you. But anyway, going back to this one, it's not a bad one. It's not top of the range or anything like that. It's towards the bottom of the range. It's pretty much bottom of the range, I think, really. We've got a tape counter, as I said. We've got two tapes here, normal and CR02, and we've got Dolby B and C. So we'll just flick them there, SB, and that is C, and we've got a record level here. So like I said, it plays okay. There we go. Oh, well, these do work. I think that's a blank tape. I've been mucking about recording backwards and forwards. Yeah, forward fast doesn't work, but the old rewind does. So there you go. So how did it sound? And I thought this sounded pretty good. Press play again. Sorry. Press play again. I thought this sounded pretty good. It's got that kind of like nice sweet sound to it. Very musical, sweet sound to it. As I remember when I used to have this cassette deck many years ago now. It used, for what it is, it's got a surprising sound. I think it's probably a bit coloured than that, but it just gives that nice, sweet kind of sound, very engaging kind of sound, and I liked it. And like I say, just giving a basic thing, it's a reasonable, good separation, stereo separation. That I thought was pretty good, and I think it done a pretty good job. You know what I mean? It's fairly impressive for what it is. You know what I mean? It's quite a nice sounding deck. And when I paired this with my brother's amp as well, they really went well together, obviously both being NAD and NAD. They kind of paired up really nicely, and it gave a great sound. So I think he's going to be pretty happy when he gets this back on these two units. Like the amp had that problem with the volume control, and this just needed a bit of tidying up, a bit of cleaning. And over the years, I should imagine that the azimuth of the tape just went out slightly. Got a video, like I said, at the top here. It's going to kind of like, you can do it without having any instruments like any oscilloscopes or anything like that. Do it by ear. It's going to put it, I don't know, we'll say 95% right, something like that. Not going to get it dead spot on. You would have to get a proper test tape, you would have to get oscilloscope and all that stuff, and obviously you're not going to go and buy that unless you've got it, and if you went and got someone to do that, if you could find them, that's going to cost you money. So to get a pretty close one, if you think your cassette deck's sounding dull, if it sounds okay, don't touch it, you know what I mean. But if you thought it sounded dull, maybe have a look at that video. It may give you an idea of just how to tune it up a bit more and get a bit more out of it. But cleaning them heads and sorting out azimuth did really bring this back to life. It was a vast difference for just a small adjustment. It was quite amazing, and a clean as well. So that's it, yeah. So I reckon, I'm not going to recommend this deck unless you buy it reconditioned, that someone's put some work into it, replaced the belts and that, because I know, because like I say, that shop had one, this one here, they're just going to go. This may last him, if he's lucky, as is, about a year. He may not even get that out of it. I did kind of feel the belt in my hand, and it didn't feel loose, where one, obviously the forward fast one is, but the one, the main belt, didn't feel too bad. It felt okay. So I said to him, you're probably going to get another year out of it, something like that. But you can never tell, because these belts kind of like melt, don't they? They kind of melt and give all that gooey stuff sometimes, or just kind of like just disappear and snap or whatever under the strain, or just go really loose. So I wouldn't recommend you getting this or any other cassette deck that hasn't had any work done in it now. I think this is the time. It's kind of come to this stage now. These are old now, and as the years tick past, obviously they're kind of like time bomb. But if you get one working, it's been done, reconditioned and that, it sounds pretty good. You know what I mean, for what it is, down that bottom of the range kind of thing, as long as you're not paying a vast amount for it. I don't know, if you've got one reconditioned, all up and running, singing and that for about 130, 140 pounds, something like that, I don't think you paid too much for it, you know what I mean. I think, for that kind of money, you've done pretty well as is. I should imagine, if you went and bought one as it is at the moment, I didn't look, I'm off the top of my head, I think this is going to be about 50, 60, 70 quid on it. I won't pay no more than that for it, that's for certain, because you're going to have them problems. You're going to have them problems. I'm not saying it's not worth that. If it's working properly and going to last you, it's a good buy, a very good buy. But I think you're going to have them problems, which all of a sudden you paid 50, 60, 70 pound for it, all of a sudden, in a few months' time or whatever, you're going to pay another 100, 120, maybe 140 quid to get it right. So bear that in mind, It can work out quite expensive buying a cheap deck. But sound wise and that, yeah, very good indeed. For what it is, down the bottom of the range kind of thing, very good. Doesn't disappoint. And the recordings come out really well as well, I think, They sound nice. as well. And like I say, it's got a very nice sweet sounding deck, this very nice sweet sounding deck. Okay, that's it. Thanks.